Hi, everybody, all the Liverpool fans out there, no matter where you are throughout the world, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, America, Canada, anywhere in Europe, here in England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and especially here in Liverpool as well. It's welcome to a new channel, actually, a new show. It's about Liverpool, just Liverpool, everything. What I mean about Liverpool, everything. About the ground, about the supporters or fans, if you want to rather call them fans. It's about the players. It's about the backroom staff. It's about the manager. It's about the owners. Everything concerning Liverpool. This is what it's all about. It'll be absolutely brilliant because I have some great guests as well. I have guests on. I have all kinds of people all following Liverpool. Comments on anything. The only thing I ask for is respect. You know, if you don't agree with the comments or anyone talking, and then you start commenting, just say, hey, listen, I disagree. This is my opinion, because everything is about opinions, especially about Liverpool, especially about how we are today, where we are. If you go back 6 months ago, we nearly won the league. We were in the Champions League final. We were beaten in the league by 1 point. We were, how can I say this? Not only beaten by 1 point, but we were beaten by 1 goal. In Paris. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts to see where we are today. So my very first question today is whereabouts in the team, or the areas in the team, that we really need to fulfill, to plug the gaps, to plug the holes. This is what I'm saying. Because there are so many supporters saying, hey, when the window was opening, and they really thought that we were going to buy so many players to fill these gaps, to fill everything. I'm just saying this because we follow Liverpool. We see what's going wrong, because there is something wrong at the club, unfortunately, at the moment. We see games, and what it is, in my opinion, whether you agree, whether you don't agree, just say. You can comment. It'll be great to comment. And also, what you've got this kind of scenario where teams, the opposing teams, are just running through the midfield. We've always had a strong midfield. And I go back, I'm ancient, I go back to the first time that we won the FA Cup in 1965. I'm a Shankly boy. I'm a Shankly boy. And, what Shanks does, Shanks built the foundations. And then we went on to win our first European trophy under Shanks. And then one of the greatest, well, in my opinion, the greatest manager of all time was Bob Paisley. And he was the only manager at the time to win 3 European Cups at the same club, with the one club. And then you had Joe Fagan, the first fella ever to win a treble, believe it or not, Joe Fagan, in his first season. So I go from them right up to today. I'd rather not talk about the likes of, I'd like to talk about Roy Hodgson, or I'm telling you now, or Brendan Rodgers, actually. No, I don't want to talk about him either, but I'd rather talk about our king here today, which is Jurgen Klopp. And, obviously, people tend to say, or, if you have an opinion about Jurgen, and saying he's got that wrong, why didn't he do this, and why didn't he do that? Why didn't we go after them? Why didn't we? Everything. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And you get other fans who are saying, hang on a minute. You can't say that about Jurgen. So people, I think, are a bit reticent to say anything about Jurgen Klopp. People are reticent to say something about the owners, and they're reticent to say, well, what about the transfer window? Why haven't we got any money? And, so this is what it's all about. It's all opinion. Please, just all you've got to do is give an opinion. If you agree with what I'm saying, and if you agree with or disagree what I'm saying, or agree or disagree with me guests that are coming on now, and these guests are good Reds, they're very good Reds, and they're American. They're American, and one of them is, he's been to me home. We've come for a drink because he's gone to match. He comes over to go to match. And his name is Brian Fennell. And I've also got a fella who's in a band, a big Red. He's in a band called the Incurables back in America. And he lives in the warmest part of America, and that's Tampa, down in Florida, which is it overlooks the Atlantic, I think, or the Gulf of Mexico. I'm not quite so sure. I suppose he'll tell me. My geography is a little bit gone here at the moment. But anyway, I'm going to bring these wonderful fellas in, and let's start the show. These are my very first guests on the new show. It's called, I'll tell you what it's called, actually. It's called FC.Liverpool. And that has connotations with my initials, because I'm Frank, you see. I'm Frank, little Frank, or big Frank, if they say. Anyway, I'm bringing these lads in, these wonderful lads. And here's Brian Fennell, and there's the wonderful Dennis. Hiya, boys. You're okay?
Hello, how are you?
Oh, they are. Look.
All right, Frank. All right,
Hi, Dennis. Yeah, look at that. Yes, that Florida sunshine.
This is great. So listen, boys. You've got to. We've got a big audience here tonight. We've got a massive audience, and we've got the likes of Stephen Snape. Just let me read these out, please. Stephen Snape says, my first game was 77, although I've been a Red since 1971. There's one immutable truth about football, and it's all opinions, absolutely. Charlie Cairns, even and Frank, on your new show and all the gang, let's get it on. This is Charlie. And even and Brian and Dennis. And greetings from across the pond, rednecks. So, I'm going to ask you, this is my, I'll go to you, Brian, first. I'll go to you if you don't mind, but it's the same question as well for Dennis. Look at Dennis sitting outside. I'm sitting here freezing. And he's sitting outside. I don't believe this.
Shorts, flip-flops, mate. Shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, stay strong, Dennis. Stay strong.
This is it, right? Okay. This is my question, and it goes out to everybody. It really does. In the January window, did you expect, forget Gapco, forget him, did you expect Liverpool to buy a midfielder? Over to you, Brian.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Well, yes. My expectation was they were going to buy a midfield. There was a light that came on, a lesson learned, and we were getting a midfielder.
Well, the thing is as well, Brian, don't forget at the start of the season, by the way, the start of this season, Jurgen Klopp came out and said when he was in his press conference, and he said to the journalists, you were right, I was wrong. And this was on the penultimate day of the window shutting at the beginning of the season. And he brought in Arthur Mello. And the thing is, it's been a disaster since. January comes, the window opens, and what does he buy? He buys a forward. Yet he neglects the midfield. And what do you think, Dennis? Did you think the same as Brian? We should have brought in someone.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, Frank, I mean, come on. One thing we always prided ourselves about being, supporters of Liverpool is that the club never aired their dirty laundry in public. They always did their business behind closed doors. So, I don't want to sound like I'm giving a pass here, but we really don't know the machinations behind closed doors, what conversations may or may not have been held, with whom they may have been talking to about trying to get somebody to come in to fill, what's been honestly a glaring void for quite some time. And I think that, I do put a lot of stock in, you know, I'm sure somebody will crucify me for saying this, but when I'm up in the morning, I'm getting ready for work with the time, we're 5 hours behind you guys. So I'm always kind of like tuning in to talk sport. And I do listen to Simon and Jim in the morning when I'm getting ready for work. And just to hear Simon's opinions about the January window in general, I never expect a lot in January. I was very fortunate 5 years ago to have been in Liverpool at the time before I moved here from Nashville. And I saw Virgil van Dijk's debut, the FA Cup derby tie against Everton. We do get those diamonds in the rough in January, but I don't think it's just Liverpool. I think the Premier League as a whole, the January window, I think it's usually as a stopgap. And you kind of look at, all right, what do we got going on now? What's the situation with injuries at the club? And what can we do, you know, um, to kind of fill some holes just to get through the end of the season? And then I think the real wheeling and dealing is always going to be in the summer over January. It's just my thought.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
but the thing that no, but the thing is, we've made some fantastic um, buys in the January window. The likes of Virgil, the likes of Diaz, so they're just a couple to be named, and we have made some fantastic deals. Even what you've got. You got Suarez, for example. Suarez came into January as well. And so it's not so much as like looking for the summer, because with the summer, many other teams go in for these players, and then we're in a bidding war. We're in a bidding war. That's the way it is. We're in a bidding war, and we cannot compete in those bidding wars. We cannot bid, if you know what I mean. We
agree.
cannot bid. We cannot outbid, in other words, other teams, and especially now the teams that are above us, who are in the top six. We can't outbid them. And there's everybody buying. All those teams are buying in January. We bought a forwards, whereas we really needed. This is just my opinion.
Well, we
Whereas
needed a forward.
we really needed a midfielder, and not one midfielder,
Okay.
but two midfielders. What do you think, Brian?
Okay, sorry, I actually jump back to that. Okay, yeah, I agree. Dennis makes some great points. I agree with that. But the way I look from this, from a standpoint of, okay, this is the second time we have missed the league title, by a total of 3 points. The second time we have missed Champions League, again, Real Madrid, twice in the last, what, 4 years. My standpoint is, okay, tell me again, we don't know the machinations, but I refuse to believe that there is absolutely no one in operations, I'm talking operations, Klopp, up to ownership, that said, okay, this has happened again. The first time we missed the league because of center backs, the second time we missed it because of midfield injury and midfield shortages. There is not someone who went into this season and said, okay, these are what we need. What do we need to do to get over the Man City hump, or get over the Real Madrid hump for the titles? Because that was the focus. That was what we were told the focus was the Premier League and Champions League. So to tell me, okay, summer planning, okay, Tchouaméni, and then nothing until the last minute with Melo. I know what Klopp said in the press, but there's a gap there. And sure, we don't have the winter window is what you usually use for adjustments or course corrections after you plan in the summertime. So you're telling me after finishing second place, you're dropped now to ninth place. There is absolutely nobody in midfield who can help you, or at least elevate us to fourth place. That's where I look at it. So,
that's the way a lot of fans are talking now.
Yeah.
They're saying, we should have gone in and bought. We should have done. There must be money there. There must be with the tears in the league for.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, guys, because I'm sorry, Frank, but okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate because at the end of last season, who would have foreseen and Brian's kind of familiar with this term because we use it in American sports, but the man hours lost to injury. And I don't know if they use that as a metric there in England. But, I mean, I would think Liverpool would be near the top. And I would also like to see statistically the number of matches that we have played over the last 4 seasons, especially, versus the top 6. Because between the number and again, look at what happened to Konate. He picks up a hamstring knock over the weekend, and he's going to be out. And again, I don't know if it's the style of play that catches up physiologically with the players, where their bodies just can't keep up with that after so long. But again, to me, that's the most mystifying bit. All the injuries that we seemingly always pick up, especially the last 2
The thing is as well, but I'm sorry, Dennis, the thing is, lots of people, fans are saying, has it anything to do with training? Because they always seem to, it's all the hamstrings. It's the hamstrings that are going. 17 hamstring injuries. I just want to say hello to these people, if you don't mind,
sure.
because they've came up. I think it's a girl, Kayla McGivigan, and she says, or he says, I don't know what it is, it's a he or a she. I'm sorry about that. Kayla anyway says, hello everyone, this is going to be great, Frank. Thought we could all see each other. First Anfield game, Liverpool 4, Manchester United 0, 1990. First game ever across the water, 1982, the League Cup final. That's lovely, that. Well done, Kayla. And Paul Burke says, Frank, the date of birth on certificates is the clue. Well, there again, we'll be coming to that, by the way, Paul. That's a good point, actually. And Kayla says again, good point, Dennis. We shouldn't be washing our dirty laundry in public, but we're not washing our dirty laundry. It's us. It's us.
Yeah.
It's us. But the times have changed. If they would come out and tell everyone the story, they are just going to be like bank robbers and they'll walk away. This is right. See, we're always left in the dark. We're always left in the dark, unfortunately. Now, what Paul Burke said, Frank, it's Brian Hall. I have to use my daughter's password. It's Brian Edley. Anyway. So this is mad. He's using his daughter's Kayla. It's unbelievable. But getting back to what Paul Burke says, the birth certificates, the date of birth on the birth certificates is a big clue. And this is where we have it in midfield. We have it. Now, getting back to your point there before, Dennis, I said, and Brian will tell you this, I said 2 years ago that we needed a world-class midfielder brought in. The start of this season, I said, We need not one, but two. And now look in the way the way it's gone. We need a clear out. We need a full midfield. And what I'm saying about a full midfield, forget about the youngsters now at the moment. We need three at least. Three midfielders. That's what we need. Because you've got the likes of Jordan Henderson. He's 33. 33 years of age. You've got the likes of James Milner. James Milner is 37 years of age. Is this the way we're looking to give him a new contract? He should have been gone a couple of years ago because of his age. And there's Thiago, one of our best midfielders, best midfielder at the moment. He's 31 years of age. They're all coming to that age where, I'm not talking about the defence. I'm not talking about Big Verge, to be honest. I'm not talking about Big Verge. He can play, until the Milner's age, if you like. So does age come into it, especially this coming summer? And who to get rid of?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I honestly think, Frank, we are going to see a clearinghouse. And Brian, I think you'll agree with me. There's several names that come to a lot of people's heads that I think they're going to be shown the door. Thanks for your service to the club. Here's a parting gift. I'm going to be, me personally, I'm going to be patient enough to wait till the summer and see what happens. If it's going to be more of the same, then yeah, I'm going to be bleeding for some change. And in full disclosure, my housemate here in Tampa, he's a Boston boy, swears up and down by FSG because of what they did with the Red Sox. So, and he's also a Red. So I kind of get both sides of that coin here. And,
okay.
And okay, talking about birth certificates, Frank, you mentioned 65. That's when I was born, in full disclosure. But don't let the baby face fool you. Yeah, I mean, I started supporting the club as a kid, and where I grew up near Detroit. When get shipped off to kind of like a Butlin's camp with my cousin, and we got introduced to football because all the counselors played at university here in the States, even in the early 70s. So when you're that young, Everton isn't exactly a name that resonates, especially being a Beatles fan. It's all about Liverpool. So that's how I got dialed in. And back then, we had to file everything through the papers that we would get at the public library from England. And nowadays, it just blows my mind that, we're able to do this. All the clubs that have, 2 weekends ago in Orlando, they had the NBC Sports who dropped $2.7 billion 2 years ago to pick up the rights for 6 years for the Premier League. They have a fan fest at one of the big parks here. It's Universal Studios City Walk. So you got about 10,000 people, supporters from all these different clubs. And we're there for the Liverpool-Chelsea match. There's hundreds of Liverpool supporters, hundreds of Chelsea supporters at 7:30 in the morning our time, drinking beer, watching the match. And that would never happen in England. You get supporters from all these different clubs. So to kind of circle it back around, the money that's going on around in the Premier League, it's astronomical. And sad to say, back with the formation of the Premier League, Liverpool was late to the table financially. And I think that allowed Man United to go in the ascent in the 90s and the 2000s, where Liverpool kind of got complacent and said, hey, well, we're Liverpool, and the success in the 70s and 80s. And that's why this summer window worries me. I don't want us to backtrack.
Well, the thing is, no, honestly, I'll just mention what Paul Burke says. And he says, we stood still when all around was strengthening, right?
Yes.
Okay, now that's what he says. And Stephen Snape says, wait until summer. Could backfire if we're out of the Champions League. Who will want to sign for us? That's a very important point there. And I'm going to go over to you, Brian. What's your take on, the winter? I know that you said we should have bought at least one midfielder. And what you think of the summer? Do you think that there's a big golden pot? Do you think there's a big golden pot? Because this has been promised every year. Every year there's been a golden pot waiting for us, and there's no golden pot because we're a shelter buy club. You know that, and I know that. We've brought in one midfielder since 2018. That's going on 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. And as Brian says, he says, lads, your thoughts on the Reds beating Madrid? Can the old Anfield magic atmosphere work the magic again, or is it too far gone? I think we can if Diaz is back and Jota. They won't be back, I'm telling you now. Jota might, but he won't be match fit. So over to you, Brian. Just like Paul Burke said, everyone was threatening, and should we have gone and even borrows off the bank if we haven't got the money to buy a player? I wanted Ruben Neves, to be honest. I wanted him in midfield if we were buying.
Yeah, we talked about him a few years ago. Yeah, Ruben Neves. So that's the thing, and this goes to a bigger discussion. And for the sake of transparency of the audience, I am anti-FSG. Now, it doesn't mean anti-FSG. I support the club, win, lose, or draw, to use that cliche. So that doesn't apply, just to establish some rules of engagement. But I think the ownership has cheated this organization, especially, and Dennis, I mean, sports are dynastic runs, run in 5-year cycles. Ours started in 2018. So yeah, we've won a lot of cups. We won a lot of trophies, but we were shorted. We could have won more. And I go back to at least one more Champions League, at least one more league, because of this organization. And so, but to answer your question, as far as FSG, next summer, that's a perpetual dangling carrot. And now I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, because we are sell to buy.
But that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. That's the point. What you just said, Brian. You always dangle that carrot, and by the time the carrot's there, it's gone. The carrot's been eaten by the donkey, and that's the unfortunate thing. Because as I said 2 years ago, I said we needed a world-class midfielder. I wasn't just saying that for the sake of saying it, because I knew that people were slowing down, especially Milner. Now, Milner, all right, they were throwing him right back. They were putting him in midfield. He's no good in midfield. He can't change games.
No,
he cannot change games. He's no game changer.
And just a footnote that before, I know you're ready to say something, Dennis, but the organization's been talking about this, and it seems year in, year out, there's always a reason we can't spend, and it's sort of cyclical. We're monitoring this person. Oh, looks like this. Then their media leaks. This person can come. Where will they fit in? And then later on, well, are they too expensive? Are they too costly? What will they do to the wage scale, the wage of the club? Then all of a sudden, it just dissipates. So my thing is, okay, well, if the ownership, and they keep talking about this European Super League, if they want European Super League revenues and notoriety, then we as customers / supporters, we expect European Super League like operations. Like you said, you don't let the midfield age like that. And when you have a need, you go out there and you fill that need, and you plan it in the summer. If not, you adjust in the winter time. And I don't mean get into an arms race with Chelsea or Man City. We apparently they do have the money, the third richest club, but you find ways to either you out scout them, out hustle them, whatever you need to do to fill that need. But unfortunately, if the kid's not in the academy, we're buying. So whatever it is your operations need to do, you feel that need aggressively and quickly, and you give the coach, you support your first team squad. That's what a Super League operations does. So
Okay.
that's my
My only rebuttal would be, okay, if you guys are unhappy with FSG, and I totally understand the reasons why, who do we bring in as ownership? I remember right around the time.
Dennis, please. We'll go on to that a bit later on if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll go on to that,
Okay.
Because we'll set a little program, you see, of what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
What we're talking about now is players that we should have been bringing in. And I'm talking about midfielders.
Yeah.
Midfielders we should have brought in. Now, why I'm saying about, but Dennis, why I'm saying about midfielders is this. I knew legs were going 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And at the end of last season, what we went through, trying to get the quadruple, which we are so unfortunate not to get, the legs are gone in midfield. I've seen it. I've seen them go. So I said to myself, we need 2 midfielders now. Now I've been vindicated. I know I've been vindicated. And I'm no manager. I'm not a manager of Liverpool. But I tell you what, the consensus of all of the football fans, Liverpool football fans, is that we did need midfielders. And they're saying now, Jude Bellingham, we'll go to him a bit later, he wouldn't even he couldn't solidify the midfield the way it is today. He just couldn't do it. Not one, no matter how good they are. We need at least now to start next season, never mind the end of this season, 3 midfielders. 3 midfielders. That's all that I'm saying. That's my opinion. If you agree, you agree. If you don't agree, you don't. Charlie Kane says, I would like to, I'll just read these comments here, then we can chat about what these lads are saying. I would like to see how much profit these owners have made on 300 million they paid for the club. And Paul Burke says, the high press game we play is based on high energy players we have in midfield. Ours are too old. FSG, too old. FSG, like the Wizards of Oz, always on the yellow brick road. Never ending lies. That's what he says. Never ending the yellow brick road. And lads, just look at Fabinho. This is Brian Headley. Look at Fabinho. For goodness sake, he can't even walk. It's pathetic. And
I'm surprised he didn't get a red the other day.
Dennis will remember 2 new players every season. Yeah, and we did. We always brought in 2 new, especially Bob Paisley. He renewed them. And this is where we fell down. We won the Champions League. We won the World Club Cup. We won everything. Then we won the Prem, which was great after 30 years. Brilliant. Oh, this is brilliant. But they never renewed. They didn't renew the midfield. And this is the problem. That's my take on it.
No arguments here. My question is going to be, okay, again, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I would love to see some names, who's out there, who are we going to start gunning after, and, at least get the rumor mill running to placate the swell of discontent that's continuously growing out there.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, you're talking about get the treadmill going on the rumor mill. But the point is, we were named. We named. This is coming up to the January window. This is like when we never got Toumani. When we never got that lad, there seemed to be no contingency plan to bring in another midfielder, right? So we were linked. These are the rumours that you were going on about, Dennis. We were linked to this January with 20 midfielders. 20. 20. Did we get any? No, not one.
It's been
Not
the
one.
last 3 years, though, Frank. I mean, you can go back to 3 years ago. We were talking about, well, to borrow that Wizard of Oz or Yellow Brick Road analogy. Yeah, well, the club has its flying monkeys in the media.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Pierce, not to name a few names, or Redmond, even not to name a few, but they completely leak things out, and some people in the media. And there were some names, years ago, looking at midfield, the refresh to midfield, because they knew then. We had was it Tielemans, Kessie, Wanyama,
Everyone.
just to spout a few names off.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to, okay, 3 years, 4 years later, well, we're still looking for a midfielder. And to tell me there's absolutely no one out there you can bring in to replace 30 some odd year old aging legs, bad knees, bad ankles. There is no one.
Well, this
Now
is
it's a miracle.
yeah.
Now it's a miracle. No, what's going to happen is we have what the 18-year-old Bajatic, who's looked remarkable out there, but now the weight of the season, it hinges on his shoulders to bring some stability to the club. Again, a club that finished second place, and I keep emphasizing second place because it's not like you're mid-table or you're the bottom of the table and you're looking at you look at this club. They were runners up in the league, so you're to get a different look from other clubs around you. So now it's on his shoulders to go ahead and stabilize the back four and the midfield to make a run for fourth place.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
It
Because
makes no sense.
it doesn't make sense because I was talking to Ian Golder today. He'll be one of my guests, in the next week or two.
Yeah.
And he turned around and said, "I'll tell you what, Frank." He said he agreed with me about the midfield, by the way, going back a couple of years ago. And he said the cracks started to appear, and it was a good one, this, when Gini Wijnaldum left. I'm talking about the cracks in midfield, by the way.
Sure.
He said, if we just let him go. We let him go because he wouldn't give him a rise. He wouldn't give him a rise, and he left on a free. And the lad didn't want to go. The lad loved Liverpool. See, I call our owners, FSG, right? I call them the washing machine. They've got more spin than the spin dryer. They just spin everything. Don't forget, these are powerful businessmen. These are Wall Street hustlers. And they're trying to, and they spin everything. Can people believe them? I don't.
All right. Well, I mean, if you're going to go there, let's go ahead and go there. Who do you want in? Because not just managers, but look what's going on across the park. Some of my best friends there in Liverpool are toughies, and I thank my lucky stars every day. We are not going through what they're going through. And Frank, if I may, real quick, Kayla McGavigan says, Dennis, are Red Sox fans really against FSG? Is it just stories over here? Look, as far as I know, again, because my housemates from Boston, no, they're content with what FSG has done for the Red Sox and the redevelopment of the park and the area around it. That's the only parallel I can draw in terms of what they've done for the club since they've come in. Thank God they're not Gillette and Hicks anymore. But what they've done to, look, where the club was when they came in versus where it is now, I get the frustration. And they're also putting money back into the community. I believe, Frank, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
They don't put anything in. I'm telling you now.
No development around Anfield at all.
Yeah, there's development. Okay, all right. I'll tell you what I'll do with you. these are, as I said, these are Wall Street businessmen. Do you think for one moment they're going to say, "Here's £500,000, go and build a couple of houses," and don't get a return on them? Are you telling me that, Dennis?
No, I'm not. That's why I'm
Well,
asking, because I'm not on the ground.
that's what it seemed to me.
Okay. So, I mean, who do you guys want in?
It,
Remember once upon a time. Remember once upon a time that Thai guy that everybody wanted in to buy
Yes.
Liverpool, and he turned out to be a corrupt SOB, and he got sent packing off to prison. So it's always easy to jump up and down and say,
no, I don't remember. Dennis, I don't remember that at all.
yeah, there was a
Some
Thai,
Thai
there
guy.
was a
Who's
there was
he?
a guy there was a guy in Thailand whose name I can never pronounce. Don't even ask me to try. It was right around the time of Gillette and Hicks, but he popped up as a potential buyer for the club. And there was a groundswell in certain segments. I reached out to some people at the time over there, and they wanted him to come
Well, I
in.
never heard. Listen, I never heard of them.
I
The
mean,
only buyers I heard of was DIC and Sheikh Maktoum,
Yeah,
who Liverpool were going to sell to, by the way. And someone spit the dummy out the pram and brought in Hicks and Gillette. And
yeah,
then few years later, he apologised.
yeah,
But it was too late. Apologies are too late
yeah.
on anything.
They always are.
It's no
I got
use
it from both my
apologising for
ex-wives.
things that are.
So,
But I got told, Dennis, that the Red Sox fans are very upset, and that they were actually booing at a game or whatever it was, FSG.
yeah, I mean they've been
You're
in
saying that they're all contented, and yet I'm getting told that there's terrible discontent with the owners of Red Sox. I
uh,
want to, okay,
yeah.
600 million we got last
mhm,
year by Redbird. Redbird. Where did that money go? Where did it go?
not in my
Where did
pocket.
it never went
Nope.
on the pitch. It never went on the pitch. £600 million. They bought a stake in. 600 million. There's LeBron James. He's got 2% share, 2% or whatever it is. I don't know what he's got. And he walked away in his first year with £31 million. Because it's pounds over here, it's not dollars, you see. 31 million. So if he's on that, how much are the other fellas on? How much is John Henry on? I've met John Henry, by the way. Did you know that, Dennis?
He owes me a pint.
He owes you a punch. He owes Liverpool Football Club about 5 midfielders. That's what he owes. Now Garrity says the team is just burnt out, simple as.
Yes.
Think, lads, forget what the team nearly achieved last season. 2 games away from a quadruple. So that has to take its toll on players. Midfield is burnt out. But maybe now Klopp will try something different with the team starting on Saturday against Wolves on Saturday. He won't change.
No.
That's Jurgen's fault. He will not change. We've been terrible. Absolutely. He was glad about the display against Brighton when they knocked us out. All right, it was an injury time goal, but it makes no difference. We were beaten. We were beaten. And he was satisfied, he said, because that was for the lads who travelled, the fans who travelled down to Brighton, because we played better than we did when they beat us 3-0. What kind of a comment is
There's
that?
improvement. Okay. There could be some double speak there going on. Well, maybe he's glad because it conveys this point about the state of the squad. Well, I'm projecting. I hope that's what he means. But like, just to jump back to what you're saying, yeah, I have some friends and some in-laws in Boston, and yes, when FSG, when they reversed the curse, they were the toast of the town. But for a few years ago, uh, there was some concerns like, well, FSG favored Liverpool. I should say go back to 2018, 2019. They're saying, well, FSG, they're focused on Liverpool now. They've forgotten the Red Sox. They don't like the Red Sox, whatever. So I'm sure both supporters have a go at each other and blame the owners. Um, but to answer your question about who I'd like to see, I would like to see well, and I would like to see someone who just goes about the business of ownership, which is improve. Okay, you own the club, improve the infrastructure, and FSG's done a fantastic job with Anfield. Um, for me, from the first time I went there to going there now, okay, yes, I can get to the turnstiles. Big old yank. Um, and yeah, the food's improved, the concession areas are improved, the seats, well, they're still a bit small, but anyway, the visible improvements are. Well, hey, I'm a big man. So, yep, yeah. You too, huh? So they've made remarkable improvements, but again, as owners, that's the expectation. You improve the infrastructure for a squad. But what I would like to see is someone who has a passion for football. FSG, they know baseball. Tom Warner owned the San Diego Padres before that. And there was another team that someone else owned. So they understand baseball, the blood of baseball. Football, I'd like to see see an owner with a passion or an understanding for football and loves the game and not just what the game does for them. And I understand what I'm talking about, just the revenues. Okay, well, yeah, their owners, yes, they're in for the money. Yeah, but still, I'd like to see someone with a little more ambition, for one, and two, passion for the game. Understanding of the game.
Yeah, no, Brian, I wholeheartedly agree.
Hmm.
But my problem is I don't want us to become Abramovich era Chelsea
Oh
when
no,
we're dealing with a guy with really shady business connections or state-owned entity with dirty oil money connections like Shitty's become. I don't want to be that club. I
no,
mean,
no,
I
I
know
agree.
everybody wants to win now. I want to win now. I want to be able to sustain this, to get back to a level where, we were in the 70s and the 80s, but I don't want
Yep.
to sacrifice our souls as a club. And
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and that's just it. Maybe I'm living in a la la land, but I don't know who's out there now that can walk in and be the wannabe white knight that certain segments of
Sure,
the
sure.
supporters want to have to come in and say, okay, get the Yanks out and get somebody in that knows football. And I'm like,
Sure.
okay, well, who? It's just like with managers. It's always easy to say somebody out, but who, the who you want in's the tricky part.
Yes, yeah, agree with that. And I'm with you. I don't want to be another city or be another, uh, Disney football club, with yeah. So, and as they call it, the plastics around the world. No, but what made Liverpool back in the 70s and 80s, okay, was the boot room, was the scouting, and that's what I was talking about. Yeah, you don't need to get into an arms race to go to find these players. You out scout them, and you put money in scouting and development. You look at Benfica, you look at Rennes, you look. Okay, Monaco's a bad example, but even Ajax, those clubs, they develop internally and they augment through the transfer window, and that's how you do it. And that was Liverpool's success. They developed, they found people early and developed and scouted them. Since FSG's owned the club, who have we really developed in house? I can name maybe what, two, three players. What?
Elliot,
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay, Elliot. Well, Elliot was bought, but Curtis Jones came through the academy. Trent Alexander-Arnold came through the academy, and I believe John Joe Shelby may have. But in 12 years, that's okay. That's only what, four players. I mean, I know it's hit or miss as a gamble, but that's what I'm saying. If you don't have your academy, you're buying. So scout, buy early or buy whatever. You don't spend 120 million. Well, we do now because we need midfielders, but you don't need to spend again a boatload or you don't need a war chest. And that's what I expected when they came in. When the club came in, the new owners came in. Okay, we're going to invest in. We're going to put money into now Kirkby and the training academy, and we're going to start just growing and nurturing our own talent, so we don't have to go into the market. And that's my point.
Yeah, no, I think it's a valid point actually. You've only got to look at our right back, Prince Alexander-Arnold. He's great. He's a fine. He's just a great player, great passer of a ball. But I think he's playing out of position. I really believe that he should be in midfield, and that could solve a lot of problems.
He may move to midfield.
I hope so.
Ramsey or whoever they bring in.
Yeah, you're right. But the point is about homegrown players. We have got some there. I remember the Barcelona game. The Barcelona game when we beat them 4-0.
Yes.
Can you remember what the bench was? Now, don't forget Bobby, and he wasn't playing, and Salah wasn't playing. Were they? They weren't playing.
No.
Right, okay. Can you remember what the bench was? I bet you can't.
Wow.
I'll give you two. I'll just give you two. There's only one player left that's playing today. The others have all gone.
Stewart was on the bench, wasn't he?
The others have all gone. The others have all gone, right?
Okay.
And there's Gomez, the only one who's playing today. And one of them. This is the point. This is the point I'm trying to make about young players, homegrown. Okay. There was a lad named. There was a lad named Brewster.
I just saw a message from Kayla McGavigan. Get Tom Brady in, Dennis for Van Dyke. Kayla, honey, in full disclosure, I'm going to be 58 in August. I got a torn meniscus in my left knee. I probably would be lucky to be a backup for Milner at this point.
See, the thing is, like, you've got this lad, Brewster, and he was the next best thing to everything. He was forward. He's gone. And there was another young lad. Oh, what was his name? Another young lad, and he was another. This lad is great. This is a homegrown player. Gone. Loads of them have gone.
Oh yeah. Wasn't he? Was a wide forward? Wasn't he? Not like Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Right.
I can't think of his name.
Gone. He's gone. He's and all these players are gone.
Yeah.
As well. He was on the bench, Mignelli, and he's gone. I think Lallana was on the bench as well. I'm not quite so sure now, but the bench was awful.
Yeah.
If we had to rely on someone coming on to change a game against Barcelona, I shook my head, but they all finished the game. There was the only decent player on the bench that came on was Gini Wijnaldum, and he changed the game. But if you look today on the bench, there's no one to come off the bench to change the game. And it was a dreadful thing at the weekend, Brian. And this is my point. This is my old point. He brought on Henderson and he brought on Milner, didn't he? This is when it was 1-1, by the way. And we ended up getting beat. And that's the sad thing about everything, to be honest. Whether we all agree or whether we disagree, but it's as I said, it's all opinions.
Well, I think we agree. I mean, again, we're not sitting here bashing Henderson, Milner, and so forth. No, they've been great stewards, and yes, good and faithful servants. We don't put it that way to the club. But it's just their time has come. I think, but yeah, Henderson, his ankle injury or foot injury. He's just grinding bone on bone. He's been doing it the last few years, but he's
Yeah,
been battling.
yeah,
Fair play to him,
yeah.
but it's time. It's
This is
time to diminish his
this is
role
it. It is
more.
it
Yeah,
is but the people are very sentimental, especially Liverpool fans. They're very
yeah,
sentimental because I said just sell Henderson. Oh, you can't sell him. He's our captain, and they've got the captain like syndrome in the head. You can't sell your captain, but he's past his sell-by date, and he has been for a while. You've got Milner. He's 37 years of age. So if we're going to rely on
oh, you're pixelating.
them new contracts,
Okay.
that's what he did.
Yeah,
For me, 81, they're going to give him a contract. And he's starting to get injured now. When was the
mhm.
last time he played? Albeit, he scored, I think, 7 goals and 6 assists or whatever he scored. But you can't be relying on injury-prone players,
Well,
especially at
that's
his age.
the new
He'll be
model.
32 or 33 next year if they're going to give him another contract. You can't do that. You've got
Well,
to get these young lads in. Someone mentioned there before, um, about uh, Rice, from West
yeah,
Ham.
Declan
You
Rice.
know,
Yeah.
get him on. Declan Rice, get him in. Why didn't we get him in? And we were linked with him at the beginning of the
Mm.
season, but we've got no one. We bought no one. And what do you think of Gapco? Be honest. What do you think of Gapco? He's had 5 games for Liverpool. Dennis, he's had 5 games
Oh
for
no.
Liverpool. What do you think of him?
I'm trying to be patient because I understand
That's
this is an EA Sports FIFA 2024 where you can just plug and play
Sure.
players. I like his work ethic. Yeah. Am I disappointed he hasn't scored yet? Absolutely. I mean, there are hints and flashes, and it's just as frustrating as watching Nunez. But yeah, I look. I'm banging my head against the wall just as much as everybody is, given the success
Okay.
we've had.
All right. I'll try
Right
to.
now,
I'll try
I
to
don't
make
know
it
what the magic
easier.
bullet is, Frank, to fix it.
No, Dennis. I'll try to make it easier. Okay. Okay. They went after him and bought him because Manchester United were going to buy him in the summer. What if he'd gone to Manchester United in January instead, and we never got him? What would you be saying now? You'd
Yeah,
be
why did we
saying,
get him?
as Manchester United, you'd be saying he's a flop for Manchester United because Man United fans would be having a go at him.
Yeah, no.
Well, what if he had gone there and he's lighting it up like a Christmas tree? Then what? Ifs and buts for candy and nuts, we'd all have a happy Christmas. That's
I mean, it's not all him. You're saying something about Salah. What's wrong? What happened to Salah? Why is his production down? I mean, Nunez and Gakpo are new to the league, and they get a pass. Thiago, remember that in 2020 when he joined the club, and he didn't have a clue about about distribution or what to do with the ball. But after the injuries and after he's injured for a while and he came back the second half, he was integral to the charge for fourth place after that dismal season. So I mean, give him a year, to learn the league and learn players around him. And again, he hasn't had the players around him to play off. None of them have. So yeah, at this point, give him a pass. I would have bought Gakpo earlier. Yeah, I bought him in the summer. Just give him a little more taxiway to learn the Liverpool way. But we're here now. He's all we have.
So we have, yeah. Okay.
I mean, we do. I
I'll
mean,
make it easier again. I'll make it easy. I'll make it easy. And it's only a comment from Brian Edley.
Sure.
And he says, lads,
Mhm.
who would you pick? Gapco and Nunes or Diaz and Jota? As he says, it's a no-brainer.
Well, yeah, it's a no-brainer, but
Who was your pick? You
they're
know, the question, it's a fair question. So I'm asking you, who was your pick?
Gakpo and Nunez.
Gapco, and would you pick them?
I'd go with those two.
Rather than Diaz and Jota?
yeah, they're not hurt.
And, yeah,
No, come on, play the game.
hurt aside, I mean,
Play the game.
Nunez
You're
are
horrible,
playing
Jen. You're
better
not coming
until
on
Diaz
anymore,
went
Jen.
down.
You're
I
not
mean,
playing the game.
they play the same position essentially. I mean, they start out wide, cut inside, and except Nunez can flip
So
off to the right side.
you'd rather drop Diaz for Nunes.
To the
That what you're
bench?
saying?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Okay. A lot of people will disagree with you, by
I
the
could
way.
disagree, but yes, Diaz brings a change of pace off the bench and gives you something off the bench.
No, it's not about the bench. It's just a
Okay.
straightforward question.
Straightforward question. Okay,
You
no,
know,
I stay with Nunez. Let him just sort of stumble through the year.
100% healthy, though, Brian, I would have to disagree. I would
Okay.
take Diaz and Jota.
Okay.
I'd have Diaz and Jota anytime over those two.
But
Really
again, the
would.
caveat being 100% healthy.
I would say, yeah, caveat being healthy when they're healthy. But
Yeah,
no,
look at that. Brian's I don't
I'm not
backtrack.
backtracking. No, I'm saying I'd stay with Gakpo and Nunez. I mean they're in it now, so okay, just see it through the rest of the season.
No,
And
that's
then
super cool. No,
regroup
that's
next
super
summer.
cool. That's super cool. Honestly, I'm not. I'm not. That's it's all about opinions.
Yeah,
You
sure.
see, I'd rather have Adrian in goal than Allison or Kelleher.
What? Really?
That's what I think about. That's what I think about your answer there,
Oh,
Brian.
really? No. No. Big difference.
I do want a cool. Caralho. If speaks Portuguese, you'll get that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there's another one for you.
Nunez and Jota. Okay, can we have some more permutations? Can we mix it up a bit? Can we? Okay. Jota, Nunez, yes. Gakpo and Diaz. No, I'll go with Nunez and Jota.
Okay, yeah, there's something to think about here. Okay.
Yeah.
There's something to think about.
Okay, Frank, let me ask you this from your perspective and what's going on the ground over there. If things can, if we end up becoming mid-table United this season, what do you think the local reaction is going to be over the summer? The level of frustration.
How does that
frustration manifest itself?
There's a lot going on now, right here in this city with Liverpool supporters. There's a lot going on, and they're not happy. They are not happy. Forget about, if we don't finish fourth, there's going to be a lot of vociferous people, shall we say. Thing is, I was going to ask you that. Now, you know that Liverpool are a shelter-by club. Okay. And I reckon if the owners are still in charge come next season, next August, right? The season starts and they're still in charge. They still own the club. Now, you know that we're a shelter-by club. Who do you think would be sold to finance purchases? I've got two little down here.
Yeah. So we have to.
I'll surprise you.
Okay. All right. Well, Kelleher. They're going to move him.
Oh yeah, well he wants to go. Well, he doesn't want
Okay.
to go. You know, he's stuck in the number two,
He
and
just
he's
wants more minutes.
the
Yeah.
best number two in the league, isn't he? He's the
Yeah. Can
finest
they
number
give him
two
more
in the
minutes?
league.
Can they give him like some of the lower cup matches? Can they give him
Yeah.
some of the other? Can they find some more playing time for him? Okay, like yeah, you're our Carabao Cup
No,
guy.
we're all out
You're our
the
FA
we're
Cup
all out
guy.
the cup.
You're our
He
group
would have
stage.
got more time. He would have got more time. Yeah, that's the question. He would have got more time if we would have been in any of the domestic cups, but he's not. We're
Yeah,
not
true.
in. So we won't be
Yeah.
getting any time at all unless Allison gets injured. Okay, but forget about Kelleher because I think we'll get about 30 million for him. But we've got to pay at least between 120 and 130 for this fella named Jude Bellingham. Now, besides Jude Bellingham, we need two other midfielders. I don't care what anyone says. We need them. And it's no use keeping hold of the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain, the likes of Keita, the likes of Milner, the likes of Henderson.
Gomez,
So,
keep going.
who do you think? And I'm talking of, you won't get any money for them. You will not get money for them.
Lower division, you'll get someone from him.
Yeah. So, who do you think? Who do you think would be sold to finance Bellingham's money and another top? Say that Mateus Nunes, for example, you're going to bring him in as well, and he's going to
Loaded
cost
question here.
100
Go
million.
ahead. Yeah.
So who do you think they'd have to sell?
We need Mo money to get Mo players, but we have to sell someone.
I've got two players marked down here.
Mo Salah's gone.
Yeah. And who do you think the other one would be?
Yeah.
And this fella gave you the clue the other day when he was substituted.
Who was that?
When he was substituted, his face was like thunder.
Yeah.
Trent?
I'll tell you who it is. Trent.
Not Trent. Trent?
Yeah.
They're going to
That's
move
to
Trent
generate money. They'll get about 80 million, 70 to 80 for him.
You're going to move Trent.
Because the big teams, the likes of Manchester City, is having just for this passing alone.
I'd send him to Europe. I wouldn't keep him in the league.
Yeah, but you
got to move him.
This is FSG.
You're right. Okay, good point. Yeah.
If you want to sell, they're not interested in Manchester City or Tottenham or Chelsea or Arsenal or Man United.
It's strictly business.
They're not interested. Sell them to them. Remember when he came in and sold Torres to Chelsea? Remember that?
Yeah.
They're not interested.
Oh, no. I mean, I understand that. Okay.
Even Brian Edley says Trent. He'd go.
I had my issues with him defensively, but I guess you have to move him. I guess so.
Did you see the face on him when he came off and he just looked at where you bringing me off? And I think that set the precedent now for Trent to move on. I really do.
So you're giving up, so the Mane, you gave up about 40 goals a year.
Yeah.
Not what he scores, but he creates for others.
Yeah.
You're moving Salah, who's actually finishing the goals.
Yeah.
And now Trent, who gives the assists. So you have just Robertson Robert on the other side for the assists. Okay. All right.
But we've got that
who's coming in? That's okay. That's a lot of money for Bellingham, but now you need right back. You need another two forwards coming in. So okay, all right.
Well, that's why we've got this Ramsey. He's brought Ramsey in for something. He always looked at Nico Williams as a lad who wasn't quite there. So he sold him. With some of that money he sold him for, I think it was 10 million. He bought the likes of Ramsey for what, 4 million, 5 million or whatever. So there was money made on that particular deal. and as a backup for Trent, as a backup for Trent.
Yes.
This is the way business. This is the way these people work. It's the way they work, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we're as you said, we're definitely in transition then. So that this 5 year cycle is done. They're just okay. We tear it down and start again. Okay. No. I mean, it makes sense, but it just hate this. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
frustrating.
It's
because
frustrating because again, because this is all caused because you underfunded your squad and you had thin squads because of the underfunding. I mean, regardless, we're here now. Yeah. That. So that's the other thing. Okay, going back to the FSG. Yeah, I want ownership. Yeah. Okay. That has the ethos that starts from the top. I guess an organization that says, okay, here's what we're doing, and this is our ambition and intent. Not well. We hope to finish fourth in the or finish in the top four, so we get championship qualification. I want to hear every year we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league, and then actually going about doing it because this sell to buy and this sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul is that's not a good model.
No, it's not a good model.
It's not a good model, not sustainable.
And this is why I'm afraid if, the owners are selling up, I think they are, by the way, because they're trying to pay off a 300 million euro debt or whatever, and then sell it and make as much profit as anything. But I think that's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous myself, because why don't we just give the debt to the people who are coming in? That's what I just don't understand. Anyway,
more to that. There has to be more to that.
Yeah.
And being in Tampa, where the Glazers own the NFL team here, and now that Tom Brady's retired, and they've left a lot of holes to be filled on that roster. As a business model, though, if you how would you compare where we are versus United and Everton? I mean, those are our two obviously biggest rivals, but off the pitch, business wise, what we're doing, is it that much worse?
Oh no, off the pitch, business wise, I'm no businessman. I think what they're doing, these sponsorship deals or whatever the deals they're finagling, fair play, more power to you. You understand the business aspect, the business of sport. I'm talking as a supporter. Again, part of that business model, business of sport is your first team, your squad, your infrastructure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't have any complaints about what they're doing with the sponsorship. Just need a return. Just put the money back into
business-wise, they're doing fantastic. No one denies that. They're doing absolutely fantastic. Right? The unfortunate thing now, they've come to a full stop. We know that they've always been a sell-to-buy club. So we accepted that. But the most important asset is who? And it's Jurgen Klopp. He's worked miracles, that man, under very restrictive purchases, if you like.
Oh, alchemy, yeah, absolutely.
So, we've got the best of all. We've got the best manager. If we never had him, I'll tell you where we'd be. We'd be languishing below mid-table. We would. There's no doubt about that. But he's worked miracles as Klopp. And that's where the downfall of FSG, the owners, are, because they should have been investing just one player every season, bringing in player without selling our best player, by the way. Just investing. That's all. That's all he needed to do. And by the time someone like Gini Wijnaldum, for example, they let him go, but we never replaced him. Now, if he was being replaced when he went, that would have been fine. Because that's what I said 2 years ago. We needed a midfielder. This season, to the beginning, I said we need 2 midfielders. Now we need 3.
Yeah.
And we needed 3 in this window to finish 4th.
Frank,
All right, so I'll go to you, Dennis. Do you think that we're going to finish 4th?
No, I don't. I know we're not. I can't with what unless so many waves of magic wand and we get everybody back healthy 100% through the end of the season, then maybe. But right now, no.
No, I think it's a good point. But my point is, the likes of Jota and Diaz, for example, they won't be match fit. They won't be match fit.
You can't just again, and unfortunately, a lot of supporters think this is like EA Sports FIFA 2023. You just plug and play players magically. They just pop right in, and they can just do whatever they can do. And it just no, that's not the reality. You're 100% right. My question, Frank, though, is okay. How does a group like Spirit of Shankly affect policy in the boardroom, if at all, on the ground locally?
Mm-hmm.
Because
they don't affect in the boardroom. Listen, you're bright people and whatever. And if you get someone, say like you own a big block of business house, a big block of it in the city, where it's all business bankers and everything else. And there's residents who are shouting, we don't want you here, get out. And so to calm them, to calm the protesters, to get, stop, get out, get rid of this building, you're going to bring someone in. We calm them, put them on the board. And do you think for 1 minute that they're going to take any notice of that residents, say, we want to stop this. Can you build another building somewhere else? We don't want you in our area. We don't want you in residential areas. Do you think they're going to take any notice of them?
So it's just basically window service and or window dressing and lip service then.
But they're not. So the thing is, they try to influence people on the streets. SOS. That's what they do. They put out statements and everything else about all the Liverpool fans. No, they don't speak for me. They do not speak for me. No matter what their good intentions are, they're saying this is who we want to buy the club. They can't be telling the likes of John Henry, a businessman, a Wall Street, a publisher. He owns a newspaper. You can't be telling those people, we don't want them to buy us. He's not going to take any notice of them. It's like Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham, there's Liverpool fans here saying, oh, Jude's coming here. Jude won't be coming here. Never mind Champions League. I'm saying this now. It's Dortmund. That's who's selling us the player. And if there's a bidding war, and if Manchester City come in, if Manchester United come in, if Newcastle United come in, and they, do you think Liverpool are going to compete with them if our owners are still in place? No chance.
No.
And it's up to Dortmund who they sell to. They're going to make as much money as they want. It's not up to Jude Bellingham. And that's the way it is. That no matter what, I think they've gone in, they could have gone into the boardroom. I'm talking about SOS here at the beginning of January and say, we need midfielders, because they're not stupid. They know we need midfielders, unless they are stupid and they don't think that we do. And they've gone in and said, we need, did they get one? No. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious because of the dynamics, being way the heck over here. I don't know, you kind of get little bits and pieces in the press, but just to actually get a feel for what's going on the ground, that's the insight that we don't get on this side of the pond. We'll have our pundits, guys like Stevie Nickel, or Jamie Carragher,
Yeah.
and they'll have their 2 cents in, and we get exposure to that. But they're working for national studios and broadcasters, so to actually have some insight into what's people like you, Frank, that actually are on the ground there to give us insight to what the actual vibe is. To me, that's priceless. It's truly
Well, it is,
appreciated.
because you've got these lads here now. You've got a Gap Painting. Now, Gap Painting sponsors my show. Me Monday and Friday shows, and he he's. It's incredible to think that, I wish he would have come on tonight. I wish he would have done, because we could have had the four of us on, because he knows what he's talking about as well. The point is, he's upset at the owners. Charlie Cairns is upset by the owners. Brian Headley's upset by the owners. Stephen Snape's upset by the owners. There's all these who have come on. Paul Burke's upset by the owners. And these people, these are on the ground. These are ordinary Liverpool lads. And they're not happy with the owners. They're not happy at all, because they haven't been investing at all. They haven't been investing at all. Honestly, they haven't.
No.
And that's the way it is. That's the way we are today. And on the ground, it's just here in Liverpool. As I said, I had Ian Golder today. He was here. And he said, look, we've got to get rid of the Deadwood. And the Deadwood was one of the Captain Henderson. The Deadwood was Milner, Keita, Oxlade Chamberlain, Curtis Jones. Because he said he's not going to make it. Can I ask you, Brian, do you think Curtis Jones is good enough to stay at Liverpool or to sell on?
Sell on. I thought a couple of years ago he might be here. He might develop the right scenario but no. Unfortunately, no. I would say sell him on to maybe not the lower division, but club in the fighting relegation, or lower division. But he's not Liverpool.
He's not at that standard that we need.
No.
He's not if we were at ordinary side, I know it sounds daft but if we were at ordinary side where we are, 9th, and we're all made up with being at 9th because we've always finished around 12th, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
We were there.
Well, didn't Everton have a parade because they finished 16th or whatever? They fell back relegation.
So it's, if Andy Gamble was on, the Gap Painting, owner, he would have just given us out straight. He would have just said, get rid of the owners. To fix the club, you've got to get rid of the owners and bring new owners in. And as Dennis says, he doesn't like the likes of, shall I say, oil-rich people. Well, there's talks going on now with Qatar, Saudi, and American consortium.
Okay.
Did you know that? Qatari, Saudi, and American consortium to buy Liverpool Football Club. But I don't want another investment. I just want to see a full takeover. And if that full takeover goes through, I think we will have money in the back. But investment scares me because as I said, I mentioned Redbird before, and not a penny came in from Redbird's stake. Not a penny. Not a penny to Liverpool Football Club.
So if the Saudis or the Qataris come in, do they?
An American, they're an American consortium, so it's the three of them.
Yeah. Okay. So if either one of the three come in, do you think any one of those are going to be smart enough to say, okay, we need somebody like a directing manager that actually understands football to run the day-to-day and actually work with somebody and reestablish a boot room mentality to say, all right, let's get some scouting in here. Let's go ahead and start going after players again. Or is it just going to be, unfortunately, somebody with a ton of money that says, okay, I want to own, a prestigious EPL club like Liverpool and not really, again, get the total vibe of the club and the people of the city?
No, I think, no, that's a very, very good point. It's a very, very good point that you made, Dennis. The point is, not being funny here, but the Arabs know more about football than the Americans.
Yes.
The football fans, they've grown up loving football. You've got Mo Salah, who's the friend of this prince. He's a big Liverpool fan. You have DIC. His two nephews were season ticket holders at Liverpool Football Club. They always went the game. They know more about football than the Americans who took over. I always remember the sale, actually, going back to when John Henry bought the club. And that Broughton was, you remember Broughton? He became an interim chairman, right? And he's a big Chelsea supporter. He's got a big stake in Chelsea. And there was loads of buyers, especially the Middle East. Not just FSG. Yet, he persuaded Perslow to sell to FSG because he didn't want Chelsea to have a main rival, because Chelsea were brilliant then under Mourinho, and he didn't want a big main rival if these Middle Eastern people got the club. Liverpool would have been the main rival. Simple as that.
Okay, Kayla McGavigan, by God, whoever comes in, surely there has to be something in the contract to say that they can't leave the squad as bad as this again. This has happened too many times. I hate to poo-poo you, but it's not how big business works, Kayla.
No, the thing is, I understand that. Okay, that's my question. Would you rather have an investment or a full sale?
Full sale.
Full sale. But in all honesty, okay, do you guys feel better about the state of the club where it is now than where it was under Hicks and Gillette?
Okay,
go back to Hicks and Gillette to justify,
because that's when the last sale happened.
No, leave Hicks and Gillette out of this. Leave Hicks and Gillette out of this for a moment. Right. Now, your supporters, you've been supporting Liverpool before Hicks and Gillette, haven't you? You had David Moyes.
Yes.
David Moyes was the chairman. He owned Liverpool. And when that Abramovich came in to buy Chelsea, he realised, now, what he did, David Moyes, he did wonders for Liverpool. He did more than these lot, by the way. He did more than this lot. He invested in the pitch. He made the Kenny Dalglish stand. He gave the money to revamp the Kop and to revamp the Annie Rose end. That's getting done now. That's what he did, and invested on the pitch. And he turns around and he said, I won't be able to compete. We just won the European Cup. And he wanted Liverpool to get on, to go on and get on. Let's get the... But I can't do it because I haven't got the money, so let's bring in someone.
Right.
And that's when DIC was going to buy. But unfortunately, He threw his dummy up. I'm in a documentary with Tommy Schmidt, the late Tommy Schmidt, the late great Tommy Schmidt. And he was telling me, I said, why did he sell them to it? Why did they sell the club to Ix and Gillette? And he was his mate. He was David Moore's mate. And he told me why.
Yeah.
And he spit his dummy out because he never went to Palace. And Rick Parry did. And Rick Parry got all the stick. He got all the blame.
Yeah.
Where David Moore's just sat back and said, oh. And he did. He made an apology. He made a big apology about 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah.
David Moore's. He's died now since, unfortunately. And he made an apology. He said, I'm so sorry I sold to them. And the same SOS, Dennis, when DIC were buying them, they were doing cartwheels and backward flips and running up mountains and sliding down and everything else. They were made up. They were delighted. And all of a sudden, now they're taking their high moral grounds on human rights. That's what I disagree with, by the way.
Let's be honest with that. Some of the former sponsors are FIFA. A couple of banks are involved in the slave trade. There have been other banks involved with other industries involved with other human rights abuses. In third world areas. So I mean, let's not pretend that this is all clean money coming into the sport. Or
no, it's not.
I know what you mean. Yeah, but
Nobody's that naive.
Well, no, it's not naive. But you hear people saying, "Well, I don't want dirty oil money." It's like, okay, well, you have vulture capitalist money. I say, yeah. How many people are made homeless so that or sleeping on the streets? So you can enjoy this football club, or say you have money to buy a football club. I mean, where do we draw the line on that? That is my point.
You can't draw the line.
Dirty oil, vulture, or war profiteering money. I mean, who else has the money? To be honest, I don't.
And unfortunately, again, Mr. Moore may rest his soul, but I think he got caught kind of flat-footed with the whole advent of the EPL.
He did.
And the whole money thing that came into the advent of the EPL. He was truly probably the last of the dying breed for that era of football club ownership in England.
One of my students, I was in a lecture, and he came to me, and he said, "My parents have flown over to Australia. They're bringing." Funny enough, where they were going, the family was split to Everton and Liverpool, and they were bringing shirts over, and they left the Liverpool shirt at home. But, and in another case, they had the Everton shirt. So the unfortunate thing was they stopped off at Singapore. Stopped off at Singapore for 2 days, I think, 2 nights or whatever, on the way to Australia. And they went around looking for a Liverpool shirt. And what they seen was 5 big Manchester United shops.
Yeah.
And he went into a shop and, they spoke English, obviously, because they were selling English stuff. And he said, have you got any Liverpool shirts? And they said, no, just Manchester United. And Real Madrid, funny enough. And they said, do you think I could buy some anywhere? Is there anywhere? Because they were desperate to, bring the shirt to Australia, to the relatives. And they said, yeah, if you just go. And anyway, he ended up in a little alley with a tiny little shop, a Liverpool shop. Mm-hmm. And that's where FSG, when they were told this, that's where they went, okay. And they just branched out with big shops everywhere. Because you look at the global fan base of Liverpool today, and that's where they opened up shops. Singapore, I'm not just talking about Singapore, I'm talking about Bangkok as well, and everywhere else down in the Far East.
Yeah.
Well, the Asian market.
And just to give you guys an idea over there what it was like here, when I moved to Nashville from Detroit in the early 90s, when I got out of the Navy in 1990, I went to Liverpool, and I was hanging out with a friend, and I take back a shirt. It had the candy logo and the 3 Adidas stripes and everything. So I happened to be fast forward to 92. I'm at university outside of Nashville, and I'm wearing my Liverpool shirt in the library, and a guy stops me. He's a Manchester United supporter, and we went from we had a pub that opened in 94. It was owned by a guy from Birmingham that played for Roy Orbison, and they were the first English pub. Nashville had crazy beer laws. They couldn't get any imports on tap. And they went from videotaping games once a week to show in the pub, where all the supporters from the different clubs and the expats and the Anglophiles would come to hang out, to now going to all these bars and pubs that are opening at the crack of dawn for different supporters groups. I mean, and I know it's a wholly different dynamic here in the States than but that's, just the evolution of the game here, and the appreciation that we as fans in America have for the clubs, and, to go from Frank, I was just telling him, we were lucky to maybe get match of the week videotaped at this pub owned by a Brummie that worked for Roy Orbison, to now, tens of thousands of people going to Orlando from different supporters groups around the U.S. for a fan festival for NBC Sports Network. So, the clubs are pumping the money in to broaden their footprint, especially here in America.
But why hasn't FSG done that? FSG has got a gold mine here. They only had to invest. They could have been the owners for the next 80 years.
Yeah.
Passed it on.
I don't know.
They're upsetting the fan base. They really are. By not investing and coming out, say we're selling, then they come out and say we're not selling with it. Liverpool, we're not like that. Yeah, I was going to show you something, Dennis. You mentioned your little Adidas, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I've got on my hand? I'll show you. See that?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Have a guess who? Oh, God, it's terrible. You got your badge there, haven't you?
There you go.
Right, you got your badge, right? Right. Do you know who that was?
Mine, after I send you my mailing address.
I'll tell you who that was. Fernando Torres's.
Oh, nice.
Nice one.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Good one to have. Yeah.
Just imagine, remember him when he came? First game?
Yes.
He hit the ground running.
Yep.
He hit the ground running.
But look, he had great supports around him. He had a squad around him to hit the ground running. So.
No, of course. And I can't. What gets me about that squad? Think about this, lads. Think about this midfield. Steven Gerrard, Xabi Alonso, Mascherano.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Why didn't we win the league? Or another European Cup with those? I know we've finished seconds in the league, but what a team. What a team. And one of the most underrated players around that was Dirk Kuyt. He scored goals. He's now everywhere. Dirk Kuyt.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's a... like you were saying about, it's obvious, about a holding mid. And there's Fabinho, he's gone, his legs have gone, he's absolutely gone, right? But think about this. Just think about this. We had Didier Man, right, as an Oldham, brilliant. Then we brought in Mascherano, right? We brought him in. And we had no one after that, really. We had no one. And then all of a sudden we brought in Fabinho, old and mid, brilliant. And now he's gone. He hasn't gone like gone, but his
Yeah.
legs have gone.
Yeah.
So who was you? You know, we've got this better chick. I just call him Badger, to be honest. You know, I just call him Badger.
Spicy enough.
Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, Brian at the opening said the weight till the end of the season is on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Think about that. That could either make or break you. It
Yes.
really can.
Yeah.
It really can. And, you
Guys,
know,
I hate to
people
do
have
this,
been
but
broken.
my son in Nashville is blowing up my phone, so I need to check in with him and see what's going on. But Frank, thank you so
okay.
much for the opportunity.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. Brian, good to see you again, my
Yeah.
friend.
Good to see you too. Take care,
And
Dennis. Yeah.
everybody, Merseyside. If I end up back over in May to play IPO, I'll definitely let Frank know and we'll get the word out.
Hey, listen, will you? You will come back on again, won't you, Dennis?
Yeah, definitely check in.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Cheers,
have to
Dennis.
drop as well. Yeah, take care, Dennis.
All right, we'll see
I
you.
have to
Bye.
drop as well. I have
Bye-bye.
to
Bye-bye.
go run across the lake. So, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's been great, Frank. Thank you so much. It's been a great.
We haven't finished yet.
Oh, we haven't. Oh, but I've got to
No,
drop.
no.
I've got to.
That's only
You see,
because he's checking in with the
well,
show.
no. It's what? Okay, it's 20 till 2 here in the West Coast. I'm 8 hours behind you, so I've got
Yeah, they
it's all
so
of a
yeah.
day. So I've got to drop, unfortunately. So my phone's also buzzing. Like, okay, yep, have to be responsive to the needs of my employer. So
Just imagine, though. Just imagine, Brian,
yes.
if we had those three players, those three mids
Oh
in
yeah.
the team today. At
Oh,
the
absolutely. It would be phenomenal. Well, change of pace
nothing
and all
could
that stuff
get through.
aside, but yeah, that would be a lockdown midfield. It'd be phenomenal
Nothing could
midfield.
get through, would they? Nothing could get through.
No.
Nothing. Would you have Torres up forward?
Yeah, I would have Torres.
As have
Well, what you were
Torres.
saying earlier, I imagine Torres with Suarez if we were able to keep them.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you know that they had the same agent?
No, I didn't know that.
And this is why Suarez was coming to Liverpool, because he thought he was going to, and so did Torres, thought that
Yeah.
they were going to be pink, but they had to sell to. It's just nuts to get Andy Carroll.
There you go. Yes. Sell to buy. Yeah.
There you go. So it's just
The
absolutely
bane of our
nuts.
existence, isn't it?
Yeah. So, as you think about this Wolves game, how vital is it on the Saturday?
Then I say the next 5 matches are be vital. This, I think, yeah, I'd say it's critical. Our season is on the brink in the next for the next month. To be honest with you, if there's going to be an ascension to 4th, it's going to have to. Yeah, they're going to have to run the table. Don't see it happening.
Who would you have up front? And who would you have in defence? Don't forget Big Konate, Big Ubu.
Konate's out.
Yeah. So he's out. So who would you have up front? And what formation would you play, by the way?
Oh boy. Okay. I would say well you're stuck with no. I'd still keep Gomez at. I would go with Matip and Phillips. And Phillips hasn't played a minute all season, but you know what? I'm going with him. I'd go with Timicus on the left. Nothing against Robbo, but gonna give him a break. Go with right back. Trent, have to. but how's he going to react after being pulled last week? So
Yeah.
that could be volatile. Go with those back four. Formation, I'd go 4-3-3. You don't have the numbers to go
He
4-2-3-1.
hasn't. That's a good
You're
point.
limited.
That's a
You
very
can't go
good point.
4-4-2. So yeah, Badger holding mid,
Yeah.
and the other two mids. Um,
You'd have to pit Thiago, wouldn't you? You'd have
yeah,
to pit him.
Thiago. Yeah, okay, Badger, Thiago. Now, do you go Elliott? Okay, that's right. Carvalho's out. So
Yeah.
okay.
What about well? It's between now, isn't it? Elliot and Keita.
Okay. Keita, he's healthy now, so might as well go ahead and use
Yeah,
him.
I'd pick him because he's got
Yeah.
the experience and he's got more legs. Believe it or not, I'm a bit quicker than Elliot. Albeit Elliot's he's great. He can come on anyway.
Yeah.
You can't off the bench. So I'd go along with that.
Okay. Up front.
Okay, who's your forwards and what position?
See, well, let me back up. I always want to play Gakpo in mid, but okay. I'll go 4-3-1-2 then. Put Gakpo in the middle, Nunez on the left, and Salah on the right, and let
I'll go along with
Gakpo
that.
let him play. So essentially a modified 4-4-2 diamond. Let
Yeah.
let him play in between, play underneath the other forwards and ahead of the other mid. So yeah,
I'll go along
that's what
with
I
that.
do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That I'd go along with that. That's very good. Yeah, I'd go along with that. Go along with your team as well. I'd really would.
That's all. Yeah, that's all we can do right now. I mean, there's not much else. Would
There's
you bring
not much
Doak up?
else.
Would you recall him?
Who?
Ben Doak?
I'd have him on the bench, and if anything's going wrong or whatever, and we need to penetrate with a runner, and who's a good runner with the ball, yeah, bring him on. Bring him on. Bring
Okay.
Ben on.
I
That's
mean,
what
as
I'd
we
do.
talked about on your show, I mean, we're at the point now. Klopp, the cupboard is bare. I mean, Klopp has nothing coming in, so now's the time just to assess what you have, and because next summer, if the clearing out occurs, well, you know what you have going. Leaving the season, you know what you have to go get for next season. Now it's a matter if they can do it. But yeah, I just start. I mean, of course, obviously do our best to make a run for fourth, but now time to just go throw the younglings in and see what they can do.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
It's sad, but yeah, that's where we are.
We've just got to hope and pray that something happens this coming Saturday. Let's hope that he picks the right team. And that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. And I know that you've got to go now, haven't you?
Yeah, I do have to run, unfortunately. Sorry, but
yeah. No, that's cool. So obviously you're going. Will you be in tomorrow night on the other show?
I'll be in tomorrow. Yes, I'll be there tomorrow.
Excellent stuff. Excellent.
Second half, yeah, I'll be there.
And you can tell me all about I've just made up that you and Dennis actually opens up the show. There's nothing better than you two fellas. It's smashing. And obviously I'll have more guests. But you will be coming on this the football show again, won't you?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. It's mad this. Good night, Brian, says Charlie Cairns. And as Charlie says as well, Gapco was a winger. That's where he played for his club. And he's right, he plays on the left, didn't he? He plays on the left.
But for Holland, though, it's funny. I mean, Genie played in midfield. He played more of a defensive position with us, but with the Oranje, he was the number 10. He was pushing, distributing the ball. He was very offensive. So I mean, Gakpo, I keep getting that mixed up. Gakpo. He played on the wing, I think, for was it Eindhoven, but with the national team he played more central.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Just call him Cozy, because
Yeah.
I call him Gap Cobble, and
I know, yeah,
you call him
Gapco,
whatever
not to be
Gapco.
confused with Gap Painters, the sponsor of the Frank Carlyle show.
Exactly.
My cross-pollinating with that. I'm sorry. I should keep it separate. The football show and then your show. Anyway, yeah. I would say at this point, yeah, see what he can do centrally. He can still sort
Yeah,
of hang out on the left side, or just lag on the left side, but I'm playing him in between the forwards and mids. Just give him some space to create or do something, and
yeah,
then I go to Diaz on the bench and have him play
yeah,
the same role. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
At this point,
you
what do we
know,
do?
we've got, which we will talk about in the next few weeks. It should be a pre-match. A pre-match. It should be
Yes,
a Madrid game.
yes.
Talk about that. That'll be.
Okay. Talk tomorrow.
Yeah. So listen. So it's Andy Gamble is, obviously he sponsors the Frank Carlyle show every Monday,
Yes.
and he's going to come on. He's going
Okay.
to come on as and he just says it, and he says, "Thanks for the plug, Brian." It's
As
great,
always.
Andy. But he couldn't make it tonight because I was going to have him on as well, because he's a. I think all our fans, the likes of Brian Edley, the likes of Charlie Cairns, the likes of Paul Beck, they all know the stuff, about football, every single one of them, and they know where the faults are. They really do.
Yeah.
And I think Dennis is. I think he's. Listening to Dennis, it's his opinion. I think he's happy with FSG, and
Sure. Sure.
I don't think he's got it, to be honest. That about the investment sort of thing. That's in my opinion. But they're all opinions. As he said,
Yeah. I
I'd
mean,
like to play devil's advocate, and I think he meant it, to be honest.
sure. Sure. I mean, he makes some good points about that. And again, they're not completely. I mean, FSC hasn't been completely terrible, but I just wish. Again, I just think they could have done more.
A lot more.
Given, yeah, a lot more, knowing what they were buying into. They should have
Yeah,
known better. It wasn't just
yeah,
someplace just to do PR spin and say, "Oh, look at us, we're doing this. Look at us, we're doing this."
yeah.
Look, want to buy? Yeah, then just leak new kits and sell. I mean, that doesn't work, and they've made some blunders along the way.
Yeah.
But again, I'll give them credit for the stadium, for Anfield Road, the renovations they've done. Definitely give credit, and then also, well, again, they did stabilize the club. But again, they bought an asset in trouble. So yeah. No, but now the football operations part, no credit whatsoever. Absolutely not.
No, no.
And as I said
And,
earlier, if you want Super League, then you better produce Super League operations or Super League efficiency to justify going into a Super League, because otherwise you're just going to drag
but,
the franchise or the club to the mud. Yeah.
Brian, do you think that they've been getting advice? Because, surely to God, like he buys players, doesn't he, for them? These baseball lads.
Yeah.
He buys them, and to make them like more, efficient, shall we say? I don't know what they're like. I know they won the World Series when they first took over. Whether they've won the World Series since, I just don't know. But the point I'm making is that is there anyone there advising? Listen, to John Henry. Let's say, just take John Henry. John, you've got to buy a player each season to, just to shore up whatever area needs shoring up. No one's done that.
I don't. I say Dennis brought another good point. We don't know the conversations that have gone on in the back room, but just we can only speculate based on actions. I strongly suspect, it's my opinion, that that the club or the ownership told. I'm sure they're aware of what needs to happen. It's sports. I mean, it's regardless, it's baseball, NFL, whatever, basketball or football. I mean, you have to invest in your squad. You have to replenish parts that are going old, or you have to replenish players that are going that are aging. I mean, everyone knows that from watching sports.
Yeah.
What I suspect is Klopp was told, okay, you can either have someone now and forget Bellingham, or you can sit pat this year with what you have, and then we'll get him next year, or make a run for him next year.
Well, listen,
I just can't believe. I refuse, absolutely refuse to believe that any manager worth their salt would say, okay, all right, we finished second place. We're going to do nothing, or we're going to let the club get stripped down, lose three forwards, bring in one, and do nothing to the midfield. That cost us the league last year. No
well,
manager's going to do that.
see, this is where, Jürgen comes under, the microscope. He really
Sure,
does.
sure.
But there are people there who won't accept any criticism of him. And you know that, and I know that.
Yeah.
And people are terrified to open their mouth. But you've got these other jokes who are saying Klopp out and all that. You take no notice of them. But you do have people who are fair-minded, and you've got to call out Jürgen on his, as you just said, you just called him out on that.
Yeah.
Finishing so close, yet bringing, and he knew, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, he actually said we need midfielders at the beginning of the season, and we brought in Arthur Mello, and that failed miserably. He's a disaster. It was catastrophic. And now, he's just left midfield, and he's seen how they're functioning. That's the worst thing about it. He's actually seen them functioning, and they're being overrun constantly every game.
Maybe this is show and tell. Maybe it's just like he's showcasing to the new owners or to the club. When I say we need players, we need players.
Yeah,
and this is the years of what the sacrificial lamb. I that's the only thing that makes sense. That's doing. I mean, but to sit here and blindly and say, no, our squad is good. We're good. Good for what? You're ninth place, plummeting. You plummeted ninth place, and there's still room to fall. So I don't know.
Maybe, well, there's our Francine there. Our Francine's come on. I'll just say this about Dennis Papera because it's important.
Yes.
All's okay with my son, thankfully, says Dennis.
Oh, good.
And he carries on by saying, thanks, Frank, for having me on. And always great to gab with the old friend, Brian.
Yes.
I don't think he means that,
Yeah, he does.
I'm only joking. Our Francine says, it's a make or break, and Klopp needs to play for players in the correct position. Needs to play players in the correct position, and that's another thing. He does play them out of position. The likes of young Elliott, he's throwing him on the left wing, and yet he's a right winger because he doesn't want to drop Mo Salah. Would you ever drop Salah? Let's be honest, would you?
No, they need Salah. I mean, he's been neutralized all year, but they need Salah. They need him out there. Where the goal's going to come from, or the threat of goals.
Exactly. And you're getting fans saying, drop him. You can't drop him. Exactly. You just cannot drop him. Yeah. You just cannot drop him.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll let you go now, Brian.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Because Jason's there, he went like that. Brian's got to go. And I went, he sent me a message before. So, But anyway, Brian, have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you. It's been wonderful. It's great to talk Liverpool football with like-minded.
That's what it's all about. It's football, and it's it's pre-match, and next week it'll be post-match, and so it'll be everything. Next week I'm coming back on next Tuesday. It's every Tuesday. It's every Thursday, and the ordinary shows, as you know, is on a Monday and Friday. You're always on the Friday, but anyway. Dennis Paparak says, Francine, I've missed you, and which is nice to have Francine. And Brian says, Francine, we need Paul Smith to give them a team talk. Who's Paul Smith? I wonder if, I don't know. They're having a conversation, so I don't know. I just don't know. So anyway, Brian, hopefully see you tomorrow on the Ordinary Show, the Ordinary, the Frank Carlyle Show. Absolutely. And obviously next week, because you're all right on a Thursday, aren't you, to come on?
Some Thursdays I am.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I'll make it work Tuesday or Thursday. Yeah. I've
got Francine on with me on Tuesday. She's coming in, so she'll be on the show. I mean, this show. She'll be on giving me loads and giving the Reds loads and giving the loads. That's what she'll be doing. I know that from Francine. Anyway, I'll hop on Tuesday from the office for a listen, says Dennis Paparak. Thank you, Dennis.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You're a good man, and I want you on with Brian again. It'll be fantastic to have you on. Charlie Cairns, good night, Frank, and all the gang. Stay safe, everybody. I think he's forgot to mention you there.
Oh, he missed me once.
He loves. And he said, "Oh wait, just remember, I'll be working from home on Tuesday. Can pop in." Says Dennis, "That's great. That's great. So you'll be able to come on with Francine. We'll make sure that you can have a gab and talk about Liverpool." And the only thing I've got to say to the people out there, listen, if you like the show, if you like the content of the show, I know that we can all get a little bit, shall we say, frustrated as we go through, some of the exchanges. But it's absolutely fantastic to have the likes of Dennis Paparak, our American friends, and my great friends here. The one and only, shall I say, Brian Fennell, a.k.a.
Oh, that's funny.
Barry White, absolutely brilliant. So it's a wonder someone hasn't said, give us a song, Brian. And,
I'm getting that now from people. Yeah. Like, oh, wait, I think that. No, I'm not doing deeper and deeper. No, whatever. No.
Charlie Cairns says, good night, Brian. This is Liv. And Brian Edley says, lads, I've really enjoyed this. Well done on your maiden voyage, Frank. Thanks, Brian, mates. That's what he says.
Thank you.
And Dennis Paparak says, Brian, a.k.a. the next DM of LFC. Defensive midfielder.
Door stop. Is that okay? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if you've got legs there, Brian, to get something in that midfield. But anyway, I've got to close the show. It's been absolutely wonderful, people. Don't forget, subscribe. And if you like the show, press the like button. All for the algorithm of the show, so it'll just get right out there. We're only Liverpool football fans. We're from everywhere. We're from all around the globe. And it's directly from Liverpool, this particular blog. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you all on next. This is the football show. See you all next Tuesday. See you all next Tuesday on the football show. Thank you so much. And for people who look at my show on a Friday, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.